The Department of Water and Sanitation was the first ever department to go bankrupt and need an overdraft. The War on Leaks project is one of the main reasons. Standing Committee on Public Accounts former chairperson Themba Godi, who presided over hearings in December last year, is scathing of the outcomes, which he says are tantamount to looting. A big part of the War on Leaks program was getting placements for so-called on-the-job training. It wasn't a simple matter, and it seems that the department may have overpromised and underdelivered.
There are still trainees, the first intake trainees who are still in the program because they did not qualify. They did not get their certificates. So they're still struggling with getting, with finding them a placement, where they can do their practicals after the classes and everything.
It was like a disaster because I had to wait for a year before I'm being placed. And we have to fight. It's not like they just offered us the placement. We had to protest going to the Department of Water and Sanitation offices in Pretoria.
Rainwater made it clear that they can't take us, all of us, because we are so many. So they had to ask companies. Some companies refused to have trainees outside because they'll tell you that what if an accident happens inside here and then it's gonna ruin our company's name and everything.
Yamkelo Ntola from the organization Undoing Tax Abuse says it speaks to an ill-conceived plan by the department.
It's concerning when municipalities don't want these artisans because perhaps they don't have the leakages that are being professed. Then what have they been trained for and what are they been paying for? What's the benefit then to the rest of South Africans if municipalities don't want to use the skills that have been trained for them to utilize?
These trainees were meant to be deployed at municipalities, but it would appear that there is little evidence to support this.
But no report has actually even come back to say X amount of artisans have worked in X amount of municipalities and this is the outcome. So the money that's been given to them as a stipend is achieving this end result. We haven't even received that.
This meant trainees sitting at home for months on end while still getting a stipend.
What we are concerned of is these certain practices that don't necessarily translate to an efficient and effective use of a budget.
Former chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, Themba Godi, who presided over parliamentary hearings on this project in December, is scathing.
That program was probably conceptualized somewhere in a Chisanyam and then taken for implementation because there was no proper planning, there was no proper monitoring, there was no proper costing, and the end product in terms of the actual placement was not there.
By mid last year, War on Leaks trainees were in for another shock. When they reported for training, their colleges closed the doors on them.
When we returned there, they chased us. They said, no, you guys, Rainwater hasn't been paying now. So they are owing us like millions. We can't be robbed by War on Leaks, so go back to your homes. That's when we organized the march.
Young people were aggressive. They were angry because they felt that it seems like our government is gambling with our lives or our future, in fact.
And we have nothing. It's been 3 years for nothing. 1 hour.
We were very emotional because, we could see our future getting out of our hands. And there was nothing we can do because they were saying, you know what, as you know, the department is broken. But we said, when the program was launched, there's money that was given to the program. Where is that money?
You've been promised a stipend, you've been promised an opportunity to work. And from the reports we're getting, none of these things are actually transpiring. So it would make sense, therefore, that students are marching either to DWS or the responsible parties in order to receive answers to their questions and to hold those people who have put them in those positions to account.
We went in the offices inside there, and then they said they're calling some certain guy who's coming to help us. That guy did not come.
Over R1 billion was used. The targets that had been set for training had not been met, and even those who have been trained I think fewer than 20 of the more than 1,000 people who had been trained were actually placed into any program of work.
What has been achieved since the program's inception, and what justifies, the fiscus contributing even further to a program, the successes of which we have no evidence of.
It should have been budgeted for. It was not. So money was taken from other programs into that project, and all of that was processed through the various line functions right up to the minister.
The trainees also took their grievances to the Public Protector's Office.
Because they were denying to fix whatever that we were requiring them to fix. So I told them that if they keep on being stubborn, if we can't meet each other halfway, then I will have no choice but to escalate the matter to the higher ranks.
The program seems mired in secrecy. In the Auditor General's report last year, the project ranked highest in terms of unauthorized expenditure, resulting in Scopa questioning this expenditure that helped bankrupt the department last year.
This program was a disaster from the day one.
I think the best body that has actually addressed issues of wasteful and fruitless expenditure with regards to war on leaks in particular has been the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. I think this was last year, late November or early December. And if you even watch those hearings, you'll note that a lot of the members within DWS couldn't address some of these questions.
It was like drawing blood from a stone because no one wanted to be accountable and no one accepted responsibility.
Can you get a representation from Rand Water and EWC so that these young people have actually received their qualifications? I'm not talking about placing them, I'm talking about just getting their qualifications.
You want it now?
No, well, I didn't think you'd be ready for it. My point is, can you, by next week, when I see you, provide me with a letter saying, EWC, so we have the following 10,000 or whatever young people have come through this and the following received their qualifications. And the same for Rand Water. Can you bring us a list like that from them, not from you?
I'll get it.
But by the time the Fifth Parliament rose, we had not received those responses.
As far as we're concerned, on face value, this looks like fruitless and wasteful expenditure.
After the break, how many trainees actually finished their training and how many got employment?
None of us has been deployed, not even one. Apparently, there's a rumor that someone in the parliament was asked where the war on leaks trainees. He said they've employed, not even one person was employed by a war on leaks campaign or something.